We're back.
With a vengeance.
With a vengeance. Okay, let me put my glasses on so I can read this. We had someone reach out to us that said, "Hello, my girlfriend sent me some of your videos and I thank you for the lessons. She especially sent me one on not talking bad about the stepchild.
Here.
However, tension is high since she allows her son to shout at me and my son or insult us. Could you please do a podcast on making sure your own child respects others? Thank you."
So they're looking for a podcast that they can share.
Right.
There's an episode for you to listen to. I get it. That's not good though. But you can't only see your side of the pain. Like my challenge is that you shouldn't be trying to parent my kid and you need to nacho. But at the same time, my kid's shouting at you and being disrespectful.
Right.
So it doesn't mean you can't do one without the other. It just means you're not really looking at this objectively.
Well, and here's the thing. Even if you are nachoing your stepkid, if your stepkid is rude or disrespectful to you, you have every right to say, "You don't talk to me like that," and walk away.
Yeah.
Or if the stepkid is being ugly to your kid, you can remove your child from the situation and say, "Come on, let's go in here." Don't say, "Let's go in here because little Johnny's being a butthole." Just say, "Come on, let's go in here." Kind of distract them.
Yeah.
Pull them away from it. Or it's the perfect time to teach your child how to deal with situations like that. So teach your child how to nacho. Say, "Sorry, you're not going to talk to me like that." And then just walk off.
Yeah. So what we're talking about right now is basically how this person who sent the email can handle things. We'll get to the other side of it in a minute. I do want to say we don't know anything other than what we read, but I would want to know, why is it that there is an opportunity for this kid to be disrespectful and to shout and all that? What's happening there? Is there an opportunity for you not to even have that to happen? So just as a bad example, if my kids walked in the door and Lori says, "How was your day?" and they're like, "Don't talk to me. I hate you." Well, okay, just don't say anything to them when they walk in the door, because there typically is a primary action that causes the reaction.
Right.
So can that be removed?
So what are you doing?
Yeah, it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong.
Yeah, Mr. Person.
Mr. Person.
That is causing the stepchild to say those things to you. Because if you're not engaging with them, more than likely they're not going to be disrespectful to you.
Yeah.
Now, some kids we know are kind of off the chain. So you may not be engaging at all. And the kid just comes through and be like, "Oh, you're fatty," or whatever, just being rude.
Right.
Then just say, you don't talk to me like that. And that's it.
Yeah.
And if they keep on, remove yourself from the situation.
Right. And if you have problems with the kid, you're better off, in fact, we recommend addressing that with their parent. In other words, don't get into an argument with the kid, because then their behavior, which is the initial problem, doesn't become the problem anymore. Now it becomes how you responded to that behavior.
Right. The target shifts.
Right. And we had that happen a million times. We did it wrong. So my kids would come in, they would do something. It would be something that I would, I needed to know about. I needed to address. My kids were being douchebags. But because Lori stood her ground and it caused an argument, then it became what Lori did. And how she handled it, and what she
to my kids,
and what she said, and then the kids then go and they, as people often do, they go and rally the troops around their cause, and they go to their mom, and they go to the grandparents, and they go to the aunts and uncles, they go to the brothers and sisters, and they get all these people. See what Lori did. It becomes a massive issue when it's like, if you could have isolated it down to, let's stop it where the kid caused the problem. and there's no other problems around that, then the primary parent tends to start to see that then.
Right. So what can you say to the person that's sharing the nacho stuff with them and like, oh, you can't say nothing bad about my kid and my kid can do whatever they want?
Yeah, I mean, that's just not, that's
realistic.
Not good. Yeah. You have to look at what is it that is also contributing to our household issues. Now, you might say that X wouldn't be happening if Y wasn't happening. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what we just talked about. Maybe the kid's being that way because of what's happening right before that. Mm-hmm. Doesn't make it right, but that's what's happening. That's an opportunity for you to sit down with your kid and be like, look, if there is some type of interaction coming your way, then you can walk away. You don't have to stand your ground either. Because if you want me to, as your parent, if you want me to see what the step parent is doing, then don't create a bigger problem for me to deal with. It's the same conversation, just a different focal point on that. And
right.
you're teaching your kid coping skills, because you can't go through life treating everybody like trash and yelling at them without there being consequences.
Right. But of course I have questions.
Yeah.
I always have questions.
Right. There's always nuance.
So one of my questions is, did this just start happening? Has the kid always been this way? Of course, how long you've been blending, the situation, how often you have the stepkids versus your kid. All that plays into it. The stepkid could be going through some stuff to where they are looking at you as the issue, mm-hmm. but it's not you, it's what you represent, which is what we tell step parents all the time. You may represent to this child, my parents are never getting back together. You may represent to this child a reminder that their other bio parent, their dad, has passed away, or that the dad's absent. So that may be where the hostility and the anger is coming from, or the child could be jealous of your kid. Maybe you have your kid all the time. He goes to his dad's 50% of the time. So he's like, well, this kid gets their dad all the time. Yeah. So
and sometimes they don't even realize that. Like right. They don't realize till years later, oh, the reason why I was so mean to them was because I was jealous of something.
Right. And is this child that we're talking about age-wise?
Right.
5 or 15?
Right. We don't know the ages.
Yeah. So there's a lot that I need to know.
Yeah.
Mr. Person.
Mr. Person.
You're telling the stepchild, you're not going to talk to me that way. That is not saying anything bad to the stepkid.
Yeah, you're not calling them names.
Right. You're just saying, you're setting boundaries, healthy boundaries.
Right. This is the boundary.
Yes.
The challenge is that you got to stop there. Like saying you don't talk to me that way, or you're not allowed to talk to me that way, then walk away. That's the harder part, because most people want to say that and then add something to it, which causes even bigger issues.
Right. And of course, your partner, Mr. Person, may not even see these things as disrespect. So for instance, Jackson, I could holler for my son and say, hey, Jackson. He'll say, what? And David could be like, that's disrespectful. He should say ma'am to you. Mm-hmm. So does your partner see this as disrespectful? And you can talk to your partner about the kids without bashing the kids.
Yeah.
So you can say, I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to expand a little bit on what you said, because this was what I was going to talk about earlier, which commonly for men, we tend to see that they had this thing about you're going to show me respect in my home.
I'm the man, by God.
I'm the man of the house. You're going to respect my rules, my this, my that. And I am not here to say that you're wrong. I'm here to say it often doesn't work. It's very different when you're dealing with a stepkid versus your own biological kid when you start doing that. So that becomes part of a problem when it's, I don't care about anything other than what my rule is. And that's where the challenge, that's one of the things we see that men often have challenges with, is it's, my house, my rules. And then they're willing to completely die on that mountain.
Right.
Instead of saying, how can we all navigate this where we're all comfortable and we're all following the rules and everybody enjoys being here?
Right. And you can talk to your partner and say, when little Johnny acts out and says something disrespectful to me or my child, how do you want me to handle that? And they can say, I want you to tell me. Right?
Yeah, they can. Just ask the question. You might be surprised. But the thing about it is, if she says, I'll say you, if you said to me, I want you to tell me, well, then when it happens next, then I'm going to tell you. You can't be mad at me for following the process that you put in front of me.
Right.
Like you said you wanted me to tell you, so I'm telling you. Now, if that doesn't work, because sometimes we find that what people thought would work wouldn't. Like, well, now you're telling me every single day when I walk in the door, you're barraging me with all these things. It's time to sit back down and have another conversation.
Right.
That ultimately is where people drop the ball in relationships, is how are you communicating these really tough things to each other in a way that doesn't make both of you want to come out with boxing gloves?
Right. So, if you are listening to this, the Mrs. of the Mr. person, why's your kid hollering and screaming at him?
I can tell you what my thought would be.
Why are they insulting them? Now, I mean, there's a fine line. Like, okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But when I was growing up, my sister was mean as crap to me.
Yeah.
And it was not called bullying. It was called sibling rivalry.
Yep.
So you have to also understand that, Mr. Person, sometimes these sibling insults or step-sibling insults is what can build bonds. So if you're always stepping in, you're not allowing your child to learn how to take care of themselves or defend themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And you're also possibly stopping them from having a bond.
Having a good relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, my kids, even now, if one of my kids comes to visit and Jackson's here, they will insult each other upon seeing each other.
First thing
they do, insult each other and then hug each other.
Yep. But that would have never happened if I would have continued to jump in.
Yep.
At some point, it hit me. I'm like, wait a minute. My sisters and I fought like cats and dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were mean to each other. So some of the fights we had are the best memories.
Yeah. Well, I remember when my kids were small and they would fight, you would often say, they're fighting. And sometimes it would get physical. And I would be very slow to jump in because I wanted them to try to figure these things out on their own. I mean, if somebody was getting hurt, I stopped it. But if they were fussing and fighting, I let it go for as long as I could. But when you have your own kid stepping in and they're a step kid and they're stepping into that, you're very quick to jump in and be like, oh, whoa, wait a minute. Especially whenever I have 4, you got 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's, it seems like there's a team up, and there often was. It wasn't necessarily 4-on-1. It was usually 2-on-1. But when we allowed them to go a little bit longer before there was somebody stepping in, it made actually a positive difference over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I will say, you're not being so quick to respond when I would say they're fighting.
Mm-hmm.
It's why we did not know there were holes in the walls up here. Just saying. All right.
Hopefully helped.
Hope this helped you.
Yeah. If you want specific help, then you can reach out for coaching calls or join the Nacho Kids Academy at nachokidsacademy.com.
Mm-hmm. And Mr. Person, feel free to reach back out to us and let us know more details.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get you on the podcast.
Yeah. Get both of you. We want Mr. and Mrs. Person.
All right.
Podcast.
That is our show for today. Hope this helps somebody, including Mr. and Mrs. Person. Until next time, remember, life is good
When you nacho.